This man needs no introduction. Please help me celebrate Yah for his special gift and the personage of Ronald Dalton Jr.
Hello, everybody. I'm glad to be here today. As many people know, I have a lot of kids, and it's sometimes hard to break free from the house. My wife's pregnant; she's due next month, so she's cracking back. She's always cracking. She said, "Why you can't leave right now? I need you here." But today it's an early start, so the kids still waking up, getting adjusted. Touching off what I said for Demona, there's an awakening happening. And if you look at, and I kind of like to look at a lot of things in terms of the time period we're in. And if you look at the Passover, we know about the coming out of Egypt, the Exodus, and Moses. And then we also attribute that to Christ's death, burial, and resurrection. And if you go to Shavuot and Christian church and Messianic Hebrews, we associate that with the Comforter, the day of Pentecost, the Holy Spirit coming. Christ having ascended, and then the Comforter comes. And then after that, the Gentiles are ruling. But now we're at a stage, you look at Sukkot, it's the Feast of Ingathering. And they had to stay in the sukkahs in the wilderness. And so what I see happening right now is that we are getting ready to go into another wilderness. And if you look at the trend of social media and Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, a lot of people are watching what's going on in America, how we're waking up and we're declaring on the streets with the camps and having the Great Awakening conferences, and other people having conferences in different areas. And the people in Africa, the Bantus people, they say Bantu, they are paying attention. And within the last, I say, 3 to 4 months, I've been sending DVDs to Kenya, to Zambia, Uganda, South Africa, Ghana, Nigeria, Sierra Leone. It's just so many different African countries that I'm sending DVDs to. And when they get these DVDs, they are blown away. And they're telling everybody. And they know that they're the ones that they're walking, they know they're from Israel. I talked to a brother yesterday, he was of Creole descent from Sierra Leone, Freetown. And you have people in Uganda from the Baganda tribe. They're Israelites as well. Then I talked to a lot of times people from the Congo. And the kingdom of the Congo was a big Israelite kingdom back in the day. Nobody really talks about it. They talk about Ghana and the Songhai and the Mali Empire. But they never really talk about the Congo. And the people in the Congo, the Kikongo, the Baluba, they know that their language, the ancient language, is basically ancient Hebrew. And the guy was telling me different words like salam, like peace, and Yah Abe, God the Father. Yiseh Yah is he who comes in the name of the Father, or Jesus, we say Jesus. And other different words, like the Zaba. The Zaba means priest in their language, but Zabak means one who sacrifices in Hebrew, just like priest Zabak from AOC. And so he said that basically their language and their traditions and customs are straight Hebrew. And he was breaking down the customs. He just was listing them all out, like saying how this is Hebrew, like it's straight Hebrew. And from the Congo, many people dispersed to different parts of Africa. So you had the Nguni people, you had the Xhosas, the Zulus, you had the Ndebele, you had the Sotos, the Sasangas, the Tswanas, all these different tribes are descendants from the Congo in Angola. And they said, and this has come from different places, as I talked to a guy from the Shona tribe in Zimbabwe, the great kingdom or house of stone, because they have a big stone kingdom over there. And you have the Sena, and you have the Venda and the Lumba. They all say that we're and then the word midbar, which is the wilderness. What does that mean? And from hearing people's visions and dreams from Africa, and what they've been saying, and dissecting everything, to me, it seems like at some point we're going to have a reverse exodus back from the way we came. And the forces to be right now, I don't know if anybody heard about that lady that got fired from the African Union for speaking out against France. And she was really for Pan-Africanism and having people come back. Well, we already know that the Chinese, the Russians, the Arabs, the French, the British, the East Indians are all right now trying to just set up their empire in Africa. But the people in Africa, the youth, they know, the ones that are woke, they know that when we come back, things are going to change. And they're really wondering what we're waiting on. What we're waiting on. That's what they're wondering. And they know that there's a barrier, there's a gap that we have to bridge together because they don't have Amazon in Africa. It's amazing because you got Amazon Canada, you got Amazon Mexico, you got Amazon United States, you got Amazon Brazil, you got Amazon Australia, you got Amazon Spain, Italy, France, Germany, you got Amazon pretty much all over the world. Similar, you got Amazon Japan, you don't have Amazon China, but you don't have Amazon in Africa. So they can't just go on Amazon and get books and DVDs shipped to their country. And it's as easy as basically Amazon having fulfillment centers in Africa. They can just basically, you order something, the fulfillment center houses your goods and your stocks, they ship it to you. This is how they do it in America. The reason why Amazon can ship to you the same day or the next day is because they got fulfillment centers in different areas of the United States of America. So you order, they get it from the warehouse, they ship it to you within like a day. They don't have that in Africa. Then in Africa, they don't have steady Wi-Fi. They got to buy Wi-Fi in bundles. And the internet tax on Wi-Fi keeps going up. So the local people can't stream and look at 3-hour-long lectures on YouTube and watch movies. They can't do that. So they have to learn from the people that's really on the ground. And of course, you have a lot of Christian churches. You got African pastors. Now you got Chinese pastors that are teaching Africans about white Jesus and their history. They're just sitting there listening, and they're bringing. And some churches are bringing in an actual guy that looks like Jesus, a white Jesus. And they, looking at he's healing people. They're doing some kind of like a skit, and it's sad because we have a lot of knowledge here, and when we bring that back and they incorporate the knowledge of who we are, our identity, and the history and the laws. Then I believe the people in the land will start to be healed, because the Bible says that my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. But look, also pay attention to what the word knowledge is in Hebrew, in ancient Hebrew, and dissect this letter. And it says, because you reject knowledge, I reject thee. Because you reject the laws of thy God, I will reject your children. And that's exactly what's happening right now. And because of westernized influence in Africa with the youth, they're not really paying attention to the laws. They're doing like what we're doing. They're fornicating. There's a lot of infidelity. There's a lot of parents just abandoning their children, just walking away. There's a lot of flashy clothes, cars, rap music. All that stuff is going on in Africa. Just like over here, they watch what we do with the emulate. So when you go to Africa, they know about Drake. They know about Travis Scott. They know about a lot of different people. There's celebrities over in Africa too. But in the majority of the villages, they need to understand the importance of understanding who the Bantus people are. Because the Bantus people are one family. One family, whether you're Bamileke, you're Bakongo, you're Maasai, you're Igbo, you're Yoruba, you're Ashanti, you're Fanti, you're Ewe, you're Ga, you're Fan. They're all one family. And that's what people need to understand. And they also need to understand, tied into this, is who are the nations that are coming into Africa? And why are they coming into Africa at this time? I mean, we know they had the scramble of Africa before, and a lot of African countries gained their independence, but the colonial power still kind of stayed on the scenes, still ruling behind the scenes, making money, like France, the Francophone countries, and then the British and the Commonwealth of Jamaica, different places, but they're now coming back in full force. So we have to understand who are these people. Who is the Russians? Who are the Chinese, biblically? Who is the East Indians? Who is the white Arabs? Who are the European powers? Who are they? And who are the Jews? Because they're in there too. And actually, with Brother Richmond, he said that the Jews in Ghana and Kumasi, they're trying to learn how to speak Twi. They're trying to learn the customs of the Ashanti people. They're trying to understand their traditions and their lot of stuff in Africa. And the brother from Kumasi, Richmond, Shanti, he said that even in Africa, the Jews know about the movie Hebrews and Negroes. Wow. And he said, well, you know who you are? He said, yeah, I'm an Israelite. And he said, oh. And he said, have you heard of the movie Hebrews and Negroes? And the Jews, and he showed his phone to the Jews, and the Jews said, yeah, we know about the movie. And they looked really upset that he knew about the movie Hebrews and Negroes. Then he said the Jews went to this building where all the Jews were at. And then they came out of the building, and they were pointing at the guy, the Shanti guy. And then his friends were like, why are they pointing at you? He's like, because I told them that I know about the movie Hebrews and Negroes, and I know who I am. And that's probably why they're identifying me, as this guy knows. So the Jews know, they're watching too. They watch social media too, they own social media, so they understand everything that's going on Facebook. If anybody doesn't know that the Jews control Facebook, does anybody know the Jews control Facebook? Yeah. Okay, so they can block you, they can put you in Facebook jail, they can suspend your account. Same thing with YouTube, same thing with Google. Pastor Howard knows about the Great Awakening YouTube channel that they shut down immediately, and it's just amazing, even Instagram. So they're watching everything we do, and they're probably also recording everything we do, even WhatsApp. WhatsApp is what you can call back and forth to Africa and different countries, and it's not encrypted, there's an app called Signal. You can do Signal. But yeah, so they're watching everything too, so they're paying attention. So when we expose who they are, that makes them nervous and jittery, and I believe it kind of like makes them speed up their plan. Like, okay, we got to speed this up, because these Negroes will find out who they are. They're hitting Africa now, they're hitting the Pacific Islands, they're waking too many people up. We got to speed up the plan. And the plan is to get it to Africa. Everybody's plan right now is to benefit all the resources of Africa and then start to give all these loans and money out. And it is interesting because there's mixed feelings about why the Gentiles are in Africa. They're in Africa. So who are the Gentiles? So going to the presentation. So in the Bible, in Ezekiel, it talks about God, Magog, Meshach, Rosh, Gomer and all his bands, Torgomoth and all his bands, Persia, Libya, Ethiopia, or Cush. And a lot of times we say, well, Persia is those Arabs over there. And we say, well, Magog is this, and Gog is this. And then people say, well, the Chinese, they're the Moabites, the Ammonites. And they say, oh, the Native American Indians, they're the Hamites, they're the ancient Egyptians, they're the ancient Cushites, which doesn't make any sense. So when they look at the chief Blackfoot, chief Sitting Bull, they say, oh, those guys are descendants of Ham. It doesn't really make any sense. So everybody's confused. But what's the truth? What's the truth? Because the European people, they know their own history. King Bulan, King Obadiah, King Joseph, the Khazars, the Russians, the Rus, the White Rus, the Belarus, they know their history. Even Spain and France and the Balkans, they know their history. So right here you see, anybody can turn these lights off right here. Can everybody see? Everybody can see the screen? Okay. All right, so in the Alexander romance, Alexander supposedly chases enemies to pass between the two peaks in the Caucasus Mountains known as the breast of the world. And he decides to imprison the unclean nations of the north, which include Gog and Magog, behind a huge wall of steel of adamantine. Now, Ezekiel 38 talks about Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah of the north quarters, and all his bands, all their people, and many people with thee. And it's interesting because we read Ezekiel 39, it talks about a lot of stuff too that's going to happen to them, and then how they're going to die, and birds and beasts of the earth are going to eat their bodies. It's going to be a lot of bloodshed. So when you look at the Caucasus Mountains, back in the old days, this would have been called Iberia and Albania. Not that Albania sits in the Balkans, but it would have been called Iberia and Albania. We know about Iberia in Spain and Portugal, but there's also Iberia that was over here in like AD, BC times. So you have the greater Caucasus Mountains and you have the lesser Caucasus Mountains. You have right now, you have Georgia, the country of Georgia, Russia, Azerbaijan, and you have Armenia, and you have Iran over here, which is Medes Persia, and back in the days, the Syrian kingdom was also in this area too. All right, so you have two barriers. You had the Black and the Caspian Sea. The Black Sea was called the Euxine Sea back in the day, Euxine, and then back in the day, the Caspian Sea to the right was called the Sea of the Khazars. That's where Europe and Asia Minor converged. this region. Russia right now has this territory right here, all the way right here. And the capital of the Khazar kingdom was Itil, right here. And the Russian people, since they really controlled this area, for a long time, nobody was trying to uncover and excavate the Khazarian kingdom and prove that these guys really existed. And if you can prove that they existed, then you can start to research about the Arab-Khazar wars. The Arabs that tried to come through here, they tried to insert Islam into all this area right here, but they weren't successful because the Khazars were a powerful kingdom. After Attila the Huns and different guys, they were a big powerful kingdom, but eventually they fell. And so, you'll see here, like I said, see the Khazars, okay? Georgia, these are the Caucasus Mountains. Byzantine Roman Empire. All right, so I'm gonna try to move fast. Catherine the Great, a Russian. She eventually, when the Rus people or the Scandinavian Vikings came from Norway, Sweden, and Finland, they came over to the Russia area and Belarus, and they conquered, and they pushed the Khazars further down and into Eastern Europe, and Catherine the Great established a territory for the Khazarian Jews called the Pale of Settlement. They also have another Pale of Settlement that's in Siberia, that a lot of the Jews that were in Russia, they also went there too. You can look that up. And most of the times the Pale of Settlement was in this region right here where you have the Slavic lands. You have Germany, you have Prussia, you have Poland, Austria, Hungary, the places where all the Jews came from the Holocaust. All right, and this is Atil, capital Itil. They escaped, that they excavated for a long time. The Russian government did not allow people to go in there and excavate it because they wanted to hide this information. So here you see Russia, the Pale of Settlements right here for the Jews, the Ashkenazi Jews before they came to Israel. And you remember in Revelations, it also talks about Gog and Magog. At some point, Gog and Magog are going to come together for battle, and come against the Israelites, and they're going to try to destroy them. But Ezekiel talks about also Gog, the land of Magog, Meshach, and Tubal, Persia, Paras, Ethiopia, Cush, and Libya, Put, Gomer. And so we know that this is future prophecy because it hasn't happened yet. It hasn't happened yet. All right, so today we have Georgia. We have Russia. Now, this is where it gets deep, and I'm going to try to break it down as much as I can. I'll probably put this in the next movie, but this is the thing you understand. The people of Russia, who are the people of Russia? A lot of people say that they're Magog or Gomer. But if you look at the DNA of the Russian people, they're a mixture of different people. So they're a mixture, they have Esau's DNA influence in them, which is the E1B1B. They also have the DNA, strangely enough, of people such as the Australian Aborigines right here, and some Native American Indians. Now, what is the DNA of Australian Aborigines doing in some of the people in Russia? And we don't, in history, are taught that they came to Asia at some point. But they did. You also look through Russia, you'll see the DNA of the Greeks, or the Greco-Romans, Greece and Roman. You have Javan, or Yavan, which means Greece, basically. The Romanite Jews speak Devonic, which is Greek and Hebrew mixed. And so Javan had children, one of the children was Kittim. Kittim was either synonymous with Rome or Cyprus. So we know that Italy and Greece had Y-DNA G. You can look this up. If you just test Italy, if you test Greece, you're going to see the same thing, G. Y-DNA happens with G from the father. They also have the DNA of the people from the Balkans area, also people from Scandinavia, which is I1 and 253. Meshach. And we'll explain Meshach. And you're going to like this as well. Alright, so they also have the DNA of I2. Now, if you look at I2, I1, you'll see that it's in different spots in Europe. It's down near the Balkan area, Macedonia, and you'll see that it's all the way at the top near Norway, Sweden, and Finland, and Belarus. So it's a big gap between these two countries, between these two territories. So what happened? At some point in history, when Jacob's seed starts to migrate out, some people went to the east, to China, some people went up north, some people stayed in that area where you have Macedonia, Croatia, Serbia, Bosnia. And that's why you see this DNA type. So the Russians have a lot of different DNAs in them. Okay, so you also see the DNA in people of the Russian Federation, Ukraine. And you can't see this, but this is Belarus, Russian Federation, Ukraine. So they have the DNA of the Central Asian Turkmen. Central Asian Turkmen. Uzbekistan descendants of, well, they're the ancestors of the Ashkenazi Jews and the white Arabs. The Turks that spoke a Turkic language, and they moved over to Asia Minor and the Levant, and they adopted Islam, and they learned how to speak Arabic. They're not the original black Arabs of the land. So they had the DNA of the Central Asians in their DNA too, because if you look at it, Central Asia is right below Russia. It's right below Russia, so it makes sense. And they also, the Russians also had the DNA of what we already know is the Vikings. The people of Norway, Finland, Sweden, Belarus, that's where you get the word Rus. They're called the white Rus, white Russians. And you'll see why, and that's the haplogroup N. But if you look closely right here, they had the DNA of people in India. People in India, L. Why DNA L? Why do they have the DNA of the people in India? I'm going to explain that. But they also have the DNA of people that speak the Indo-Aryan language. Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iran. Because Iran is right next door to Afghanistan and Pakistan, which in the old days was the Indus Valley region, the Mauryan Empire. So they have the DNA R1A, which many people today will associate with Eastern Europe and the Slavic countries, All right, so we look at Jacob's son, because nobody, a lot of the Israelites on YouTube, they just want to keep on talking about Esau. Esau is the whole white race of the planet Earth. And he said, well, if Esau is the whole white race on Earth, who are the sons of Japhet? And they just get quiet. And he said, give me something, tell me something. They said, oh, they're the Australian Aborigines. They're the Pacific Islanders. He said, well, they're dark skinned, they're black. How can the sons of Japhet be black? Because when you look at the head bust of Rome, the Romans and the Grecians, they look like white people. When you look at the head bust of Flavius Josephus, he doesn't look like a black man, he looks like a white man. So everybody's confused. So the sons of Japheth, Gomer, Magog, Madai, means Persia, Javan, Greece, Tubal, Meshach, Tyrus, Ashkenaz, Torgoman. The sons of Javan, Tarshish, Kittim, and Dolaman. The Gentiles, the Isles of the Gentiles. So the Georgian people, they have an ancestry and a history that say that they are descendants of the children of Meshach. It's interesting too, if you break down Meshach in Paleo-Hebrew, the Mem, I think it's the Shin, and the Kaf, Meshach. And you can see some stuff going on there. So these are the Georgian people. Back in the old days, it was the Colchians. Anybody familiar with the Colchians? No? Well, Herodotus? Alright? So notice their hair, and they got black hair, they got long braided hair. Alright? The Georgian DNA. What are their DNA? They had the DNA of Esau, all up in them as well. The DNA of the Greco-Romans. They also have the DNA of I, that you'll see in the Balkan areas, and also sometimes up in Scandinavia and Norway. Alright? So, but you also see with the Georgian people, the DNA of the Central Asian Arab people. Well, they converted to Islam, and so we call them Arabs. But the Georgian people live on the Lesser Caucasus Mountain region. This is clear evidence that there was real Arabs that came and fought during the Arab-Khazar Wars. Because if you look at Dagestan, if you look at a place called Dagestan, they have a high proportion of the Y DNA, J1, that you see in the black Arabs in Iraq, in Saudi Arabia, in Yemen, in Qatar, and in Khartoum, Sudan. The black Arabs, even in Socotra. So the black Arabs at some point in time tried to get up into that area and move Islam up there. But they ran into the Khazars and they fought. And they couldn't penetrate past the Caucasus Mountains because the Caucasus Mountains were big. They couldn't really get past that long fight with the Khazars. So they also have the Central Asian DNA too. And so what it does is it also proves that the Ashkenazi Jewish people's mixed DNA, because if you test the Ashkenazi Jew, you're not going to just get one DNA. For most Negroes, if you test our DNA from the father, what are you going to get? He won't be one of them. You're not going to get like 5 different choices. You're going to get mostly one. Unless your dad was Caucasian, then you might get something else. So the Jews have about 6 to 7 or even 8 different haplogroups. If you just test 100 Jews, you're going to get random numbers. So what this proves is that the Jews came from Central Asia and they migrated to Eastern Europe and eventually to the Levant region, which is Africa with the Exodus to Levant, and then also doing some time in Babylon when they got invaded by the Babylonians, coming back, and then Persia, and then coming back to Israel, and then leaving from Israel during the fall of the Second Temple, going up into Europe. The DNA does not support that. The DNA does not support that, and this is the reason why a lot of Jews don't like the stuff that I teach. They want to debate. They email me saying, let's debate on my platform, not your platform. We don't want the Spiritual Combat Show to air this debate. We want us to air this debate. And so they want to debate the stuff because nobody's really challenging the DNA of who they really are. Nobody's challenging the language. Because the language of the Ashkenazi Jews, before they got to Israel, was Yiddish. And Yiddish was a mixture of Slavic, Germanic, and Turkish. So the Jews all know that in early elementary, they went to Hebrew school. They went to Hebrew school, and they learned Hebrew. Then they went to the other schools. And so that's why they speak Yiddish. The Baptist people already had this growing up as a little child. They already have Hebrew in their language. So they understand when they're awoke, they can say, oh, this is Hebrew. This is not, yeah, we say Shiva, and that's 7, so we associate it with the Sabbath. And we have different things. And so they know. So you look at Eurasia, the Ashkenazi Jews and the white Arabs came from this way, and they went down here. Not like us, when we went this way. And then we got scattered to the 4 corners. Armenians, see the same hair, black hair. The Kardashians, they're half Armenian. They have black hair, they have dark features like the Arabs, dark hair, dark beards. All right, so the Armenians, they live right below Georgia or Coaches. Now look at the Armenians' DNA, you'll see that they have the DNA of people in Kush, in Sudan. Why do they have the DNA of the Dinka tribe, and the Nuba tribe, and the Shiluk, and the Anawa, and the Nuba? Why do they have the DNA of people down in Sudan? Because at some point, the Kushites were in Mesopotamia. Everybody know about Nimrod, the son of Cush? All right, the DNA still lingers on. Even when you look here, the DNA of the Native American Indians is seen in Armenia, or the DNA of the Australian Aborigines. They mostly have seed. Pretty much everybody that's Australian Aborigine, the dark-skinned people that have sort of wavy, straight hair, their DNA is found in Armenia. What are their DNA found in Armenia for? If you research their history, you'll see their migration. They also had the DNA, the Armenian people had the DNA of the Edomite influence. And so when you look at Georgia DNA list and Armenia's DNA list, you'll see the Esau influence. You'll see G from the Japheth and his family. You see the Turkmen in Central Asia. You see the Native American Indians, Q. This is another thing too. In Georgia, which is right above Armenia, why would we see the DNA of the Native American Indians? Blackfoot, Hopi, Shoshone, Cherokee, Seminole, Choctaw, Chippewa, Yaqui, Ma'i, Ute. Why would you see these different Native American Indians DNA in the ancient territory of Assyria, or now it's called Armenia? You also see the DNA of Ashur, Lud, Aram, El, M20, and the DNA of R1b, which is mostly seen in Spain and Portugal, where you had the black Moors and the black Jews. And here we see over here Armenia A and I2. Now it's interesting because you see this right here. Armenia also had the DNA of, some of them had the DNA of H. Why DNA H? Now H is seen in South India with the Dravidian people. Anybody know who the Dravidian people are? Dravidian. You have Tamil Nadu, you have Kerala, you have North Sri Lanka, you have Kanakata, they speak Kannada, Telugu. The dark-skinned Indians, because there's Indian people in India that are dark. Some of them are darker than black people. They have this DNA right here. I asked an Indian man, I said, he was Christian. I said, where do your people come from in terms of Noah and his 3 sons? And he said, name off their sons, I can tell you. I said, Ham, Shem, and Japheth. He said, okay. He said, Shem. I said, you sure? He said, yes. I said, you sure? He said, yes. I said, Ham? No. I said, Ham is African. He said, Shem. I said, now tell me what son of Shem that you guys are stem from. Because a lot of the people from the Dravidian lineage, they say they came from Mesopotamia. And this is in the language as well, in the first movie, Hebrews Negroes. And so he told me, he said, Ron, I think it's Arphaxad. Arphaxad. What was he trying to say? Arphaxad. Now Arphaxad came, you had Eber, you had Lot, and Ammon, and Moab, and Abraham, and Nahor, all these different people. They speak Hindi. In Pakistan, it also has a high frequency in the people of Balochistan. The Balochistan also used to live in Iran, and they're dark skinned as well. And so it's also seen in up to 68% of some tribes and castes in Karnataka, 38% in some cases castes in Gujarat, 48% in some castes in Tamil Nadu. So when you look at the city people, anybody know who the city people are in India? The cities? Yeah. The black people yeah. So a lot of the city people, the black Negroes that were sold during the Arab slave trade from Kenya, they got sent to Karnataka, and they live in the forests of West India. So, but they don't have this DNA L. They have E1B1A. And so they also did a test of these people called the Kalars in their caste system in India. And they said that they have a high frequency approaching 80% of the haplogroup LM20 that was seen in Armenia, which in the old days was right next door or with the Assyrian territory. LM20. Right here you see the higher percentages, the darker it is. Here, here, and here, and then you see it starting to trickle all the way this way. But it's also seen over here in Armenia, in Assyrian territory. These are the people that have the LM20. The Kalars, the Kanev, and you see here, this is the Aga Mudayans, the Madura district. You see how they look? They're dark skinned. So who are they? Are they Shemites? Are they Shemites or are they Hamites? If you look at the old map, you'll see that Ham also has a territory in some parts of India. Ham has a territory in some parts of India. And they have done genetic research to prove that you have the Nubian culture can be seen also in certain castes in India. Here we see some more people in the different castes of the Dravidian people. And see how they look? You see, most Indians we see look like this. We don't see where Indians look like this. But their DNA is not our DNA. It's not our DNA. Right here and right here. So they look Negroid and they look, well, some people may say Shemitic, but they're not E1B1A Negroes. Right here as well. Okay? So, you go back to the Balkan areas. So we have Meshach, Tyrus, and Gomer. The Illyrians were a people who inhabited the ancient area today known as the Balkans. The Balkans today would be Croatia, Bosnia, Herzegovina, Slovenia, Montenegro, Kosovo, Serbia, and northern Albania. They were the northern neighbors of the Greco-Romans. Javan, Kittim, they are the cousins to the Celts and the Gaul. Now the Gaul is associated with what? France, right. Some people say that's Western Slavic territory. So the Gaul Celtic people were tall, with blonde hair, and they had red hair. Blonde hair or red hair. We know that red hair is seen in that France, Spain area. We know that blonde hair can be seen where? In Finland, Sweden, Norwegian, Belarus. They have blonde hair. And then you have a mixture, in Europe as well. But they were similar in appearance to the Caledonians, but not the Sideroos of ancient Britain, who were described as swarthy, dark complexion with curly hair. And B'nai Israel talks about swarthy and the people living in Britain. Anybody know what B'nai Israel is? Yes. Hebrews? Yeah. All right, so we have some old maps. So Celtic, Germanic people, because English is a Germanic language. Spanish and French is like Romance. So here you see Belgium, Britannica, this is Gaul and vicinity 1st century BC during the time of Christ. All right, so the Illyrians, who are they? Because a lot of times we don't learn this in school. We don't learn about these different nations. We learn Abraham Lincoln, we learn about Frederick Douglass, we learn about slavery. That's why we keep getting slave movies like Harriet and Coming Back to America 2, Bad Boys Forever, like with Will Smith and what's his name. So they keep entertaining us, but they're not educating us. So that's why we don't understand our Bible when we read it. So we read our Bible, we don't know who the Canaanites are. We're like, who's the Perizzites and Jebusites and Amorites? Who are these people? We don't know who these people are. You can ask any black pastor, who are the Canaanites today? They won't be able to tell you. They won't be able to tell you. You say, who are the real Egyptians today? They won't be able to tell you. But if you watch Hidden Colors 5, you'll see in Hidden Colors 5, they keep saying, when they attacked us, we kicked them out. When the Hyksos came, we did this, and our people here did this. So they're making you think from Hidden Colors 5 that you are an Egyptian. Because they keep referring to us and our and this, and they're referring to ancient Egypt. So they confuse you to make you think you're Egyptian when you're really an Israelite. all over the place. But they don't give you the identity of who you really are and why this is happening to us, why you're even making these movies. So when you look at, if you go back to this, you look at this. In the Hippolytus of Rome's Chronicle from 13th AD, the aliens were said to be Meshach's children. The Albanian language is said to be Illyrian. Also, the Georgians have oral traditions that they, along with the other Caucasus mountain people, as well as Armenians, share a descent with Meshach, whom they call Meshiti, combined with Tubal and Torbaman. So they have a mixed ancestry. Meshach, Mosach, some say, is the father of all the Slavic people in Eastern Europe. Eastern Europe is like over there with Germany and all some places. It's like some of the language of the Ashkenazi Jews is mixed with Slavic, the beginnings. So, some sources believe that Meshach moved to the area known as Moscow, Russia. Me and Pastor Law talked about that. And had children called Moscovites. Other sources link him to Moski, the people inhabiting the Moskian Mountains, between the Black and the Caspian Sea, the sea of the Jewish Gentile Khazar tribes. And if you look at above the Black Sea, you have what country? Ukraine. Kyiv, Ukraine. And a lot of the Jews came from Ukraine, right? Right? Okay, so I like to do research. I don't like to just stop with just Negroes. I like to go all over the place and study the whole world. I like to break it all down. When I read my Bible, when I got older, I like to understand what am I reading. Like, who are the Assyrians? Who the God was today? Like, they can't be these people right here. And who are the Jews there? If the real Jews ain't the real Jews, then who are they? And if the Arabs are white, and Ishmael's mother was Hagar the Egyptian, and then Ishmael got a mother out of Egypt, then he should be black. So the real Arabs should be black. So who are these white Arabs? I like to do research and go deep. So I went and started researching and going through Google, and I found some stuff. And so if you look at between the Black and the Caspian Sea, they had an area called Albania and Iberia. This was like Georgia territory. All right, so Albania is not here now. Albania is over there in the Balkans. But then I'm going to show you another map. In the Hellenistic and Roman periods, Iberian Albania, or Iberia, often called Caucasian Iberia for the sake of clarity, corresponds to the heartland of ancient central Georgia, while Caucasian Albania lies to the east of this, centered roughly in what is now known as Azerbaijan. The descendants of Meshach are connected to Tubal and Magog and other Japhetic northern nations, including the Moski, a people living on the borders of the Colchis and Armenia, aka the South Caucasus area. Now, if you look at the descendants of Japheth, you'll see Magog, you'll see Meshach, Tubal, Tyros. So they're all brothers. So we would expect them to be mingling and mixing amongst each other and moving with each other. And of course, if there's some mingling and mixing, you'll see different DNAs, like the Greeks and Romans. So it's hard to see on this map. I think I got a closer one. But the Moski Mountains is over here, right here. The Moski Mountains. Near, this is the Pontus Exumus, which is the Black Sea. So much stuff, so much information. I know Pastor Howard appreciates it. All right, so the Muski were an Iron Age people of Asia Minor, or Anatolia, known from Assyrian sources. Because the Assyrians, they went up, they conquered all the way up into Germany. If you look at it, it's a city called Trier, Trier. It's an Assyrian place. They conquered a German city, the Assyrians did, way back in the day, during BC times. Trier. It's in my books too. Several authors have connected them with the Moski people of Greek sources and the Georgian tribes of Miski. Look for the Arsenians and Euphrates River. If you look at old maps, which is the Eastern Muski people and Cilicia, Western Muski. Assyrian sources identify the Western Muski with the Phrygians, while Greek sources distinguish between the Phrygians and the Moski people. Now we have research to back this up, because a lot of times, they'll say, well, you don't have no proof. You're like, show me the sources. Hey, people ask me that all the time. Where's the sources? And if you debate people like, what's that guy's name? What's his name? Ron Shields always debates. Vocab Malone, Rabbi Rosenberg, all these rabbis, they want the sources. And the sources they'll accept is usually white sources, not black sources. So you give them Hecataeus of Miletus. He speaks of the Moshi as Colchians or Jajians who live near the Hurrians. If you know about the Hurrians, they're in that area as well. Herodotus says the Moski tribes territory extend along the southeast border of the Euxine Sea, aka the Black Sea, and bounded on the south by the Armenian Mountains. Strabo says Moski in modern day Abkhazia, and there was actually some black people living there too. It's in the academy. Georgia are divided by the territory of the Colchians, Armenians, and Iberians. It was said that the Moski were subject to the rulership of the Iberians and embraced Christianity, their religion of their masters. That is until Judaism and Islam crept in as well. Today, Armenians are what religion? Armenians are what religion? They're Christian. They're Christian. They have a Christian quarter in Israel. The Armenians do. Armenians are there. Armenians say Someke, what was in old times, Muski, Meshach, or Moskai. Pliny the Elder, however you know about that, 1st century AD, attaches Meshach and Moskini to southern Armenia, and sometimes was linked to the Cappadocians, whose capital was Mazacah, Caesarea Mazacah, modern-day Kharsi. So if you look here on the map that I zoomed in from the last time, you see the Mosti Mountains right here. Mosti Mountains, this is Iberia. This is Colchis. So now this is the Alans. Alans was one of the sons of Togarmah. Khazar was because Togarmah, according to the Crimean letter and the Khazar correspondence, they had 10 sons. One of the sons of Togarmah was Khazar, one of them was Bulgar, one of them was Oghuz, or whatever their names was, and the other one was Alan, the Alans. This right now, the Alans is in present-day Dagestan. So we got more sources, even Pompeii. Talk about Pompeii and the Romans and the Greeks. The Iberians and the Albanians were recognized as primary peoples in the region. Pompey himself proceeded against Mithridates and of necessity passed through the peoples dwelling about the Caucasus Mountains. The greatest of these people are the Albanians and the Iberians, of whom the Iberians extend to the Moschian Mountains of Meshach and the Euxine Sea, Black Sea, while the Albanians lie to the eastward as far as the Caspian Sea. Alright, so we look at Meshach. Alright, when you see the different letters of Paleo-Hebrew, like the cup hand, you look at Kaf, the ancient Paleo-Hebrew is like a cup or a cup hand. But it's interesting because the word Melech ends with Kaf, which just stands for king. Kether starts with the letter Kaf, crown. Other ancient meanings for Kaf are subdue, tame, and suppress. And if you look at Mem means water, and then you have Shin means to consume, to destroy, and then the Kaf means to suppress, subdue, or to bend to your will. That's another meaning. And we do know back in those days, you had a lot of people from Asia. You had Attila the Hun, you had Genghis Khan, you had the Russian Vikings. They just came down, just conquering. They had to travel across the water from Scandinavia, Rus, down to what is now known as Russia. And then they just conquered all the way down to here, this area, subjected everybody to their rule. Even these people out here, but they're all the same lineage, essentially. The Caucasus Emirate, Russian Federation. So we look at the Kaf, the transition, all the way to what we see now. So Meshach is Mem, Shin, Kaf, the ancient Hebrew. And if you look at a lot of the names in Hebrew and break it down in Paleo-Hebrew, each letter, you'll find something interesting. Just like with Noah and Melchizedek and Ruach and Holy and Covenant, Egypt, Mitzrayim, break it down in each letter in Paleo-Hebrew, and it uncovers a deeper layer of meaning, which I've been finding out for myself. So Belarus is called the white Rus. As you see, they have blonde hair. Some of them have black hair. They're called the white Rus or the white Russians. They come from the Rus people or the Russian people. They're all connected. In Belarus, if you ever heard somebody from Belarus speak, it sounds Russian. And they have the DNA of Esau in there as well. They have the DNA of the people in the north and also in the Balkan area, Belarus, Russian Federation. You see I-1, I-2. So something happened where the people in this region, they migrated this way, and eventually they came over this way. And you have Russia, and came down here. But the Greco-Romans were in this area here, because even though you see the Y-DNA-G over here in Georgia, Armenia, Colchis region, you'll see, if you do the DNA test of the people in Greece and Italy, you'll see the Y-DNA-G as well. But guess what? You'll see Y-DNA-G also in Khazar land. Khazar land, I'm going to show you this. So, not to give you too much information because I know that it's hard for us to really take in all of this at one time. But the Irish Celts claim to be descendants of Magog, while the Welsh Celts are claimed to be descendants of Gomer. The Irish Scotland area is best known for people with red hair, and because they have been linked to the ancient Scythians, who some say are also known as the Mogogians. The Germans, the Scythians, and Jews of old were documented by historians to also have red hair. So now we're getting somewhere, because in Ezekiel 38 it talks about the land of Magog and the prince of Magog. So when we look at the Germans, the Rothschilds, all these guys, they're essentially Germans. They're German Jews. You look at Donald Trump, his ancestry goes back to Germany. You look at the British royal family, they are of the German household. If you look at, break down their families, the house of this, the house of that, the Duke, all this Edinburgh, you break down, they go all the way back to the Scythians and the Germans. Prince, what's that guy that has red hair? What's his name? Prince Charles? Prince Harry? He has red hair. The Scythians, however, were moved from Eastern Europe and Turkish land to Western Europe. The ancient Greeks called them Scythae or Seldon Scythae, Latin Greeks called them Galli, Romans referred to them as Gauls. This is a picture of the Sakha people, who are similar in bloodline to the Scythians. They wear these little hats. And you see here, Alexander the Great walled them off. And this is the Caucasus Mountains. They believe that the Caucasus Mountains kept them from coming down into Europe and taking over the Roman Empire, the Western and Eastern Roman Empire, until it was their time to come down and start wreaking havoc. So you see these Russian Jews, or Roten, Juden in Yiddish means red Jews, like red-haired Jews. Roten means red. Because Yiddish is not real Hebrew. So red means something else, but in Yiddish, Roten means red. So identifying red Jews with the white Khazars, they say, according to Arab sources, that a group of Turkic people who converted to Judaism, whose relatives, according to Arab sources, had reddish hair and blue eyes. Rabbi Rosenberg has what hair? Red hair. In Iran, you see some people with red hair as well. They didn't dye it like the ancient Egyptians did, the Somalis do. They had red hair. This is Kazakhstan. So, you go to Esau. I'm kind of going to jump to Esau now, because Esau is also listed in the Confederate in Psalm 83. The tabernacles of Esau, the tabernacles of Ishmael's people. We know about the Horites, and the Horite mixed with the Horite and the person that came with Amalek. So we have people in North Africa. These guys are called the Mozabites. Their DNA is the same as our DNA on the maternal side, so they have African DNA on the maternal side. But when you look at Esau, a lot of people say, where is Esau? Some people say Esau is all the Arabs. Some people say Esau is all the white people. But the Bible says that, behold, I have made thee small among the heathen, although you are greatly despised. So the Bible says that he was going to scatter Esau and he would be small amongst the heathen, and he went around. Because he went to North Africa too, in Arabia. And it says here also, though thou exalt thyself as an eagle, and thou set thy nest amongst the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but in Petra, Jordan, and I was watching the video, somebody went there, and he said, look at this, and he pointed up in the rocks, and he said, there's an eagle right here. Eagle. In Petra, Jordan, the home of Esau. And this is also the symbol of Esau, Edom. Isn't that crazy? Just like America. And if you look here, they also had, in Petra, Jordan, they had the cult of Isis. And the use of the Isis Basileon, which is the palace of the Queen Isis in the iconography of the Nubedian Petra. The Nubedians, like the Arabs. An inscription surrounding this niche tells us that this is the image of Isis that was made in the 5th year of King Obadyah III, 25 BC. So the worship of the Egyptian gods could also trickle over into Greek and Roman and even Edomite pantheons. And that's amazing that the Edomites were also worshiping Isis. Now, they also worship the all-seeing eye. Anyone know what the all-seeing eye? When they be taking pictures and be doing this, or doing this, or doing this, all types of crazy things, doing this and doing this. Be like, why are these people doing all this stuff like this? Somebody told them to take a picture with your hand on your eye. What's the purpose? When we take the ancient Tibetan language, and they worship different gods like Allah, Al-Uzza, and Manat. This is the second movie. These are the pagan gods of Islam, and what's named Allah's daughters. And they say, well, Allah can't have a son. Well, Allah has 3 daughters, and in the Quran it says they're supposed to worship. So you have idols, and here's one of them right here. Here's one of them right here, and you'll see another idol where one eye is closed, one eye is open. The God of the Arabs, Qos Allah, or Dushara, or Qos, K-A-U-S, Q-O-S, the God of the Arabs, the God of the Edomites were Roman influence, and the blood ties of the Egyptians also goes back to the Wajid, Egyptian eye, aka the eye of Ra. The Ra in Hebrew, Ra means evil, or the eye of Horus in Jewish Hollywood God. The Arabs, they have the all-seeing eye. If you go to Arabia, they have all this all over the place. And one eye is bulging, one eye is open, and you know, and you get the swastika, you got the all-seeing eye, the pyramid, the back without a veil. You got the owl. So these guys have the DNA of the Arabs, and they have the DNA of European people on the maternal side, but they call themselves the Mozambiques too. So Esau has crept in to North Africa. So although the black people call themselves Mozambiques, these people call themselves Mozambiques too, but they have the DNA of Esau in them. And their maternal DNA comes from Japhetic mothers from north of the Mediterranean Sea. And so when you look at Esau in the pot, and you see he's hairy, you got hair in his chest, hair in his arms. That's why people think the white man's Esau. You have Esau makes up the Hebrew letters Ayin, Shin, and Vav. Ayin means to watch, to know, to see, similar to the all-seeing eye, esoteric knowledge, the illuminated ones. Paleo-Hebrew for the 21st letter Shin means to eat, devour, or destroy, to bite, to press, or to teeth. Some people say that Shiva, the destroyer in Hindu pantheon or Hinduism, is basically the equivalent of Satan. The Paleo-Hebrew symbol for the 6th Hebrew letter Vav is to secure, to hook. In some instances, in terms of the Ashkenazi Jews and the Talmudic Jews and the Pharisees and these guys, these sages, they say that also is linked up to mankind, man. That's Revelation 13:18. So you kind of put them all together, it means to watch and destroy and devour mankind. And even though I know we can't hear, I'm just going to show you this real quick, get an idea of what's going on.
The question is, in my opinion, how does the Dal communicate and give orders to his followers? At the very end of the Quran, Allah warns us about الذي